Welcome aboard this week's podcast of Dudes Dish Disney. Get ready for amazing attractions across America. Beer halls and bar rooms, banquets and beverages, a collection of characters and colleagues.
No cupcakes.
It's Dudes Dishing Disney. This episode of Dudes Dish Disney is sponsored by Magic Vacations. Magic Vacations. Discover the magic of travel. And now your hosts, the dudes of Dudes Dish Disney.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Dudes Dish Disney. Joining us today is our producer and resident tech dude, Jonathan.
What's going on, guys?
Also joining us here is our co-host, Ryan. He's known as the #1 Disney dude.
What's up, dudes?
And I'm Congo Carl, and you're not.
Thank God for that.
Right?
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever want to be Congo Carl at this point.
You know, we realized after having a drink together tonight that we haven't talked about drinking enough. Or lately. Maybe not enough, but lately.
I was going to say, enough isn't the right word. We've definitely talked about drinking enough. It's just been a minute.
So Ryan, quite frankly, comes up with stellar concepts for topics. And this isn't one time that he did it, but we're going to talk about it anyways.
Pretty sure this was me, actually. But, whatever. We'll go with it.
We're going to talk about the most underrated bars, in our opinion, at Walt Disney World. They're not the ones that everyone talks about and flocks to all the time. And there's some really good surprises. There might even be some bars we talk about that one of the three of us have not been to yet and can't even have an opinion on because it's so underrated that even one of the dudes may not have been to it. I find it hard to believe because I think we've drank everywhere, if not with each other on our own. But that's the point of tonight's concept. So we're each going to talk about what we think our top 5 is in no particular order. I don't know if I could really say, maybe after the conversation, I could say, yeah, this is my #1 pick for the top 5. And then we thought we would work together, collaborate, and come with based on what we all think to be true, we'd all come up with a collective top 5 as authorized by the dudes as the most underrated bars at the Walt Disney World Resort. And we'll publish that. And hopefully there'll be some hidden gems in there that you can go experience and let us know if we're right. When you walk in, is it half empty? And you have a great experience, and you're wondering why more people aren't flocking to these underrated bars. Have I missed anything in the concept, dudes, that we should kind of weave in before we get started?
Nope, just got to keep drinking.
Yeah, keep it going and then keep going some more.
All right. John, why don't you start us off? What do you have an underrated bar in your opinion that you've gone to and you like, and it really falls into that category?
Yeah, one for me, I was coming up this list I'd actually forgotten about and been quite some time since I've been there. This one's heading over to Disney Springs, and this is Enzo's Hideaway. And this one was phenomenal. I mean, I first went there. I actually went over there to meet up. Actually, it was a while ago. Meet up with some family while I was in town. And this is when the bar, restaurant, all that had just kind of came online and all that. And it surprised me. I kind of went in there kind of not knowing exactly what the theme and all that and everything was. But wow, I was impressed. I was impressed by their large menu of extensive alcohol, extensive wines, everything. Again, I'm not a wine drinker, so I couldn't tell you a damn thing about wine. This is when, as you've heard in the past, the one time a year when Carl gets a bottle of wine, pours me a glass, and says, "Here, drink this, try this." That's as much as my extensive knowledge, but I've tried some different whiskeys and all that stuff here, and man, it is just perfect. And it's not super crazy in there. It's got a nice atmosphere. The staff is wonderful with pretty much anywhere at Disney, to be honest with you. And it's just a nice little vibe. It's kind of got that little bit of a secret hideaway to a sense that kind of goes with the theme. But man, it's really nice over there.
Yeah, it's a prohibition bar, right? It's definitely themed to being that prohibition theme. And yeah, what a great one you couldn't have picked a better one to start off with. And it wasn't on my list. And as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh my God, that's so friggin' obvious that is, and we all went there the last time we were in Disney Springs, remember? It was late at night. We all walked in and was it a nightcap?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember doing this one, no.
Oh yeah, definitely. We all slid up to the bar. Maybe it wasn't last trip. Maybe it was the trip before, but we all went, it was very empty and we all walked in.
I don't recall ever doing this with you. Was this your other podcast that you're involved with?
No, it was a large group, like 10, 12 people. So you had to have been.
The first time Carl was ever with Magic Vacations drinking without either of us, John.
So look, it's a great call. We've all been there, maybe not together, but we've all been there. And it's great. And am I mistaken? Do they also have that Sunday kind of Italian dinner down there? Is it right? I've been there for that. And it's like, I don't see it on the menus recently, and I'm concerned that it's no longer there, but it used to be a great Sunday dinner feast you used to have, right?
Yeah. They have Enzo's has that, right? You have Enzo's Hideaway, and then
that's probably
Enzo's
where
has
you're
the dinner.
thinking.
Yeah. But yes, that's a very they do a pretty good job with it too. I wouldn't say it's the best, Italian food that you're gonna find, but it's good. It's edible.
It's pretty good for Florida, I would say.
Very good for Florida.
Yeah.
Florida. Come on now.
We try to think globally, not locally.
I know. No, I would agree. I'm with you, Ryan. I'm with you, brother. But yeah, what a great way to start that off, John. I think you nailed it. What do you think, Ryan?
I considered it. Honestly, if I'm in Disney Springs looking at underrated places to go have a beverage, underrated bars, I'm going not too far away from there. I'm not probably going to Enzo's. I'm probably going to the Edison instead. There's just a really cool vibe in the Edison. It's kind of like this old time, like inventors bar kind of deal going on. Two floors, live music usually playing with some weird video stuff. I don't know. It's just got a really cool, unique vibe to it that you don't find in a lot of places. But the drinks are superior, in my opinion, to what you're going to find. John, you were with me. You had a rough night.
Yeah, that was that was an interesting one, Ryan. I think that was the first time either one of us had been there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
that was that wonderful COVID trip that the two of us had in the peak of COVID. Now, in hindsight, we probably shouldn't have done that, but neither one of us got COVID, thank God. What was that?
I said, no, we were good, right? I knew full well what I was doing. I was totally
fine. Anyways, yeah, I mean, that was a drink. Even you looked at me with a concerned face when that drink got handed to me.
Yeah, I looked because I don't think you realized what you ordered. And to your credit, you put it down like a champ, but yeah, there's some really, really, really good craft cocktails going on in this bar. And really for anybody who's into that scene, I don't think you find a better bar in Disney for craft cocktails than the Edison. They do a really good job. They have a bartender bash that they do, and then they take the drinks from that and they stick it on the menu. Some of the names of the drinks, just in the names alone, are hilarious. The Dirty Banana, right? And the my favorite is the Just Trust Me, right? Like that's pretty hilarious to me. The Just Trust Me is a Whistle Pig Farm stock rye, screwball peanut butter, whiskey, black walnut bitters, and chocolate bitters. And that's a really good drink that'll kick you in the face at the same time. But everything in there is just, I don't know, man. It's just it's different from anywhere else you're going to find at Disney. They have some high roller stuff in there. They've got an old fashioned in there that's $125 a drink. It's just a high end, relaxing. There's not kids running around screaming in there, and almost nobody talks about the place. So to me, that's a getaway. That's exactly what you want in an underrated place. They do have a kids menu, but it's not a kids place, right? I would never recommend somebody bring their children in there. So yeah, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, one other thing I'll step in and say is, I mean, obviously while you're drinking, you need a little snack too. And we're not really talking about snacks, but man, that clothesline hanger bacon there, that is worth mentioning in this too. That is a must.
It is. It is
great with bourbon.
Sure. Yeah, you need it. I mean, honestly, to me, it should be part of the consideration at a bar, right? Because I don't necessarily need the full menu, but any good pub or bar should have a bar or pub menus, and when you start looking at the types of things that they offer here, yes, you have the DB clothesline bacon that you're talking about, John, but they also have the Electra fries, which are really good. The Monumental pretzel is a big shareable pretzel with pimento cheese and honey mustard that comes with it. They've got a charcuterie board called the Circuit Board. That's a really different kind of take on a charcuterie type board. A flatbread, right? There's a lot of stuff that you can mix and match with those craft cocktails that you're having, and have a good bite to eat, so you're not going overboard too, right? Because one or two of these drinks can make you stumble a little bit if you don't get a little sustenance in your body. I think the Edison does a really good job of bringing all that home.
So since we're in Disney Springs, I've got one, and you might have an argument that, oh no, that's very popular, but I tell you, it's not. Every time I go to it, it's empty, and you get good quick service. And if it's one of the only bars that has a rope drop ceremony that nobody knows about, and it should be well attended, but I swear every time, whether it's a weekend, weekday, night, afternoon, no one is at Jock Lindsey's. And I think everyone talks about it like, oh yeah, but it's still underrated from the fact that no one's going there. And I think that's because it's a pretty competitive environment in Disney Springs. It's tough to compete with some of the name brands that are there, and just others have entertainment, right? And because this doesn't have entertainment, it's there. But Jock Lindsey's, we took a bunch of people there who hadn't been there, and they were totally impressed with the drinks, the charcuterie pretzel, everything there. And everyone's like, yeah, we're definitely coming back. And I'm just surprised everyone I talk to who hasn't been there. Ryan, have you been there?
I have. Yeah, I have. I snuck in. I have snuck in there. And it was one of those places that, like you said, I've talked about and I knew existed, but I hadn't been yet. And I had to force myself to go in there and try it because it's got the notoriety, but like you said, people aren't there. But B, like it's a Indiana Jones themed bar, right? Like if I'm in Disney, I think that's the commonality that we have with these three bars that we just mentioned is they're all also highly themed, right? Like that's what I want when I'm in Disney. I want to feel like, just like I'm at Trader Sam's, right? Like I want to feel like I'm experiencing the bar just as much as I am the cocktails that go with the bar and the food that goes with the bar. And Jock Lindsey's does that very well also. But I would agree with you, Carl. I think if you put it on most people's lists in Disney Springs, it probably doesn't crack the top 5 for most people.
It doesn't.
And it should. It absolutely should.
Everyone should. If you haven't been there, you should go. And it really is. It's not a restaurant. It's a bar. It's all appetizers and bar food, small plates and stuff, and great craft cocktails. It's one of the few places that you can get a Kungaloosh beer on property, brewed especially for Disney. And it's not exactly located where the original Explorers Club is, but it's close enough to kind of remind you a little bit about, what was there. But it's good. It's a lot of fun. John, you liked it when we went. Everyone we brought with us was surprised. And I think I was the only one the night we went. I was the only one there who'd been there repeatedly. I've walked there in the afternoon. The bartenders there are fantastic, where they'll strike up a story and talk as a past cast member or what's going on, and bring you up to like current, like what's the situation with current cast members and what's going on and what's the do's, what's the don'ts. It's a great place to congregate. And like I said, they do a rope drop, and I don't know if it's 3 or 4 p.m., but when they open, and if you're there ready for their rope drop ceremony, they'll pick one of you people to officially open the bar that day. And they give you a token and a medallion and take your picture and make a big deal out of it, and have a little ceremony. So it's a lot of fun. Anyone who's doing that, because we've been known to rope drop a few bars ourselves. So anyone who's making a ceremony of it, I got to get my hats off there. So I think those are 3 good starting picks. Let's keep going. John, what do you got for another hidden gem or an underrated bar?
Yeah, this one I'm going to throw out that I know for a fact that the 3 of us have been to. This was featured in our bar crawl a couple months back. This is going to be the Dahlia Lounge over at Coronado. This one, when we'd been there, I had never been there. I at that time had never been into Coronado. In this one, this one was awesome. The drinks are phenomenal in their one to start, but it's the view. It's the view that you don't expect you're going to get. Just standing out on that deck and looking over, you've got a great, almost direct shot into Galaxy's Edge. You've got a great view of Epcot. And it's a nice view over every kind of seeing a good portion of Disney. And it's not usually that crazy. When we were there, it was a little crazy again because there was a large group of us that ended a bar crawl there. So we kind of went in there and kind of took control of the place. But overall, it's not usually that crazy busy, to be honest with you. Because it's not a resort that a ton of people consider as their resort to go to. So it's very helpful. And again, that resort has so many different options when it comes to bars. It's just one that kind of gets forgotten because it's a newer one. So it's really nice. Yeah,
good. We certainly had a good time there. We concluded our evening there, and it was good. What maybe under or overrated, depending on your base opinion. It's been said that the best churros on campus are at that restaurant of all the places you can get them, because Disney World's churros aren't as good as Disneyland's, and they say the Dahlia Lounge has the best, and that's how we finished our night with I think 30 orders of churros for everyone to share.
Yeah, that poor waitress. I was helping you with our merch from that event, and when you were talking to her about, we're gonna do this many orders, she looked at you. Wait, so 3? No, 30. What? She's like, and obviously you had a few at that point. So did I. I was a little more sober. I'm like, no, he's being dead serious when he says 30. And she kind of like, oh dear God, not this guy.
Hey, Jose, get the fryer going. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I have to be honest with you. I had a great time there. Drinks were fine. Bartender service was not what I would have come to expect, truthfully. Not with us, but I saw the servers and the bartenders get a little snippy with customers on a few occasions. The thing that holds me back from putting it on this list personally is more just the vibe just didn't feel like a Disney vibe to me, right? The vibe there is very, as is much of that resort, is very businesslike. And it's more of a, hey, the convention was downstairs, come on up and have a drink when you're done. I will say the security guard, I wish I remember the guy's name, who kicked us out at the end of the night because we were the last ones there, was fantastic. He was great.
He was awesome.
I'm pretty sure he put his hat on somebody and let them lead the charge.
He was an underrated security guard. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I stayed and was around for that one. I had left a little bit before you guys with another group, and I'm kind of now regretting this because it's the first time I heard about this.
Oh yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But I think I can respect where your pick is coming from, John, because we did have a really good time up there. But I also thought that was a product of the people we were with, more so than the bar. I'm not saying it's bad by any stretch. Just I wouldn't put it on this list. If I'm at Coronado and I'm going to put a bar on the list, I'm going to go down to Three Bridges. I think Three Bridges is more of an underrated bar that fits what I'm looking for than the Dahlia Lounge is. And as a matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and segue into my pick because that's that would be my next pick. Three Bridges to me is everything I want out of a bar in Florida. We've talked about it a few times on the show before, so it maybe not new for our listeners or viewers on YouTube. It's probably more, somebody's never heard us before is not going to hear this. But Three Bridges, what I like about it is you're on the water, right? It's kind of a serene spot. It's really chill, right? There's couches and stuff surrounding the entire thing. It's a lot of small plate type meals, a lot of things that you can eat very easily. There's still that Spanish vibe to it. So you can get a good white queso, which I'm a big fan of when I'm having a margarita, or the sangria flights in there are very popular and very good as well. And then, of course, there's tons of TVs. So what's cool about it is it's this like little bar on the water that's only open for dinner. You can't make reservations for it. You just got to hope you can get in, right? But it's a chill vibe. That has, good margaritas, good sangrias, good stuff like that, good queso, good food. But then it's also kind of got like a sports bar vibe to it, in the center of it, because you can watch whatever your favorite team is while you're chilling out. That's the type of bar that I like. So for me, I'm going to put that on my list of underrated bars rather than Dahlia Lounge.
That's fair. I mean, I can 100% see that. I thought about the Three Bridges, but the problem is it's talked about so much that it made me kind of take it off the list, because it's one that you say Coronado and people are just like, oh yeah, this bar. So it kind of threw me there. I'm like, okay, it's more talked about than not compared to Dahlia Lounge. So that kind of hinted more in my favor of that. I will 100% agree with you. I mean, that view out there is awesome. I've yet to actually take a drink out there and have kind of sit down. I've walked through it before. I regret not getting a drink last time. I was meant to get a drink last time, meet up with Carl at our last retreat there. Thanks to a slight flight delay and transportation from the airport to the hotel, Carl was already exiting and I was dropping my bags as humanly fast as I could to avoid him from going to bed at, I would say, 8 o'clock at night, compared to staying out and drinking like he normally would. So
I don't know how much validity there is to that story, but it's not going to change my opinion of the lounge there at the Three Bridges. I think I originally called it the Four Bridges Lounge, and I was like, "Where's the extra bridge?" I wanted to get there, so I enjoyed it. But look, since we're talking about underrated lounges at resorts, I've got one for you, and almost no one thinks of this place, but I'll tell you why it's underrated. to me, the underrated one of the characteristics is it's empty, it's easy to get into, and great service because you're not fighting shoulder to shoulder with 100 other people. But Victoria Falls Lounge at the Animal Kingdom Lodge is a great place to get a light bite or something before you go off to Boma or to Chico's or anywhere. It's wrapped around behind the kind of stone fireplace, so it's sort of hidden. And the gem of it is the physical bar itself, sitting at the bar. It's imported wood. It's all from Africa. It's hand carved. It's just gorgeous to sit at. It's really cool. And, true to Disney's theme in the lodge, because if you go to some of the great African wine selections in the restaurants, they have African spirits in the lounge. And you probably can get them in the restaurants too, but there's nowhere else that they're serving some of these. Some of them are at Animal Kingdom, but they have the Kilamarita, which is has an African flavored tequila in it, in that margarita, as well as a bunch of traditional tequilas. There's like 5 different tequilas in it. It's pretty powerful. But they also have some African vodkas there that you can mix with some drinks. They have some African gins and some African rums. So where you're used to getting, your favorite spirit with a brand name, you can kind of explore and try an unknown label from Africa. And how apropos is that being in the Animal Kingdom Lodge? Not a lot going on for food. It's kind of there's little bar bites here, and it changes so much that they don't even publish anything. And they do have imported African beers in addition to all the traditional Disney beers. Again, when you go there, the magic is sitting at the bar and taking at the ambience. There's some other tables around the bar, and it kind of opens up on one side and overlooks the lobby. That's not so much, kind of the magic of that place. The place is sitting at that handcrafted bar and having a drink or two before you head into one of the great restaurants. And I think because the emphasis is put on the great restaurants, there's 3 great restaurants at Animal Kingdom Lodge, that this bar is overlooked. So Victoria Falls Lounge is certainly one of my nominations for the top 5.
Yeah, I like it. I flirted with putting that on the list just because I do know about it, but I haven't actually sat in there myself, so I didn't for that reason. But what I do know about the bar, and I've walked through it and I've seen it, is it's a beautiful spot. It really is one of those rare, unique spots that you can go and sit anywhere at Disney World. And it does offer something unique to it that you're not going to find anywhere else. Kind of like how I was talking about with the Edison, right? It's just something different about it. The vibe in there is just different as a result. It's also kind of off the beaten path, right? So it's easy to go there and get away from it all, right? You don't feel like you're not getting on a bus to go to Disney Springs, to walk through a crowd, to go find a unique spot. You're probably taking a minivan or driving your own car, or you're staying there in order to actually really sit and enjoy it. And that also helps that feeling of being in a bar that you want to be in.
And it's kind of elevated to look over the lobby, and you take some weird stairs to get up there. And yep. I don't know, do you know, Ryan, I don't know what those it's not carvings, but it's like eroded layers of earth and stone, right, that are in the pillars. It's really cool looking, and it fits in.
It fits in for sure, and it's again, it's kind of like anything Animal Kingdom, right? Like whether it's the resort or the park, it's just so well themed that you feel like you're in a place that you're not supposed to be in, right? You're in Central Florida. You're not supposed to feel like you're in Africa, right? And they do such a fantastic job of it in there, and that's really, honestly, Carl, that's throughout that entire resort, right? Like that's
True.
that's not even just in that bar. That's throughout that entire resort.
But that bar
And-
looks different than other parts of that resort. That's why it's kind of burned in
Yeah.
my memory, you know?
Yeah, well, it's they make it stand out, right?
Yeah.
They make it stand out. They did a really good job of that, and it's just a welcome and inviting place to go sit. So, yeah, I love that call.
Ryan, do you have one? Want to throw one out there?
I'm going to skip to John because Jock Lindsay's was on my list as well. So I doubled up already, and I
Okay.
think John won behind me then.
All right, I've got one that, while it's a little bit off the beaten path over at the Swan and Dolphin, I'm going to throw out Shula's. I know I was waiting for you guys the last time I was there. This is again a couple of years ago now. You guys were just finishing a round of golf that I unfortunately was not.
Why
able to
couldn't you
attend.
make it to golf, John?
Ron, why didn't you come golfing with us?
Yeah, that good old false positive COVID test that I've mentioned a few times on this damn show prevented me from playing a round of golf. So I had a free afternoon of twiddling my thumbs and being bored out of my mind and very angry, which ended up turning into, again, a false positive. So I was hanging at the bar waiting for you guys a little bit, and really got to enjoy and got a good feel before sitting down to have a feast with you guys. That Carl, again, loves to give us a feast. So, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, it's just got a nice vibe. The drinks are phenomenal. It's very laid back. It's not super busy in there. I mean, you easily can get a seat at the bar at almost any time of the day. Bartenders are phenomenally educated in everything that they have to offer, everything that they can do. And the nice thing is you can pretty much get everything off of the menu, even at the bar, which some places don't even bother in Disney to do that. But this place, I mean, you could get your full-fledged steak dinner sitting right at the bar and be quite happy. So yeah, this one was great. I mean, I forget what I had. I didn't get anything too crazy because I knew sitting down with you guys are going to be a lot more involved. So I went something light, something I honestly don't even remember at this point, unfortunately, but it was definitely a nice change of pace and kind of set me back in the right mood of being at Disney after the cluster that was that afternoon. So
You bring up a good point, John. There's really not too many bars that I can think of where you can get full restaurant menus at Walt Disney World. Would that be common at any restaurant in your hometown USA? I would say there's probably 50% or less versus all of them, right? The bars are kind of like operation of the bars, and so many of them are not associated with the restaurants that they don't offer the full menu. And some of the restaurants are so popular that you get reservations in, you're planning, 30, 60, 90 days in advance for some of these restaurants. It would be totally unfair if you could walk into a bar and get the same menu, on these popular foods, right? But that's one. Shula's is one that you can do that, right? There's a couple that are coming to my mind that you can do it that are even Disney restaurants, not a third party like Shula's, and maybe that's why they do it. But that's a good point. And I guess probably at Disney, there's probably not as many single travelers. Ryan, you could admit you're used to running a business, and sometimes you go out for dinner alone. It's easier to have it at the bar, than to get a table, than say table for one, right? So that's a good point about Shula's. And now I'm kind of racking my brain at other places you can do that versus you can't do that, right? Sometimes you go to those bars with the restaurants at Disney, you can get the appetizers at the menu brought to you while you sit at the bar, but not the full meal, right? So, yeah, good call. Good call. Are you ready now, Ryan, that you let John go?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely talk to one. I mean, some of these are underrated in terms of Disney's, but there's ones that we've talked about before. I really wanted to say Raglan Road, but I don't think we can call it underrated anymore.
No, it's definitely not underrated. It's so
Honestly,
popular.
5
Not
years ago,
overrated. It's not overrated either, but
right? But 5 years ago, Raglan Road was underrated, right? 5 years ago, when we first started this podcast,
you think?
Raglan Road was a place you could walk into at any time and just walk in.
Yeah.
Now you can't do that anymore, right? So I really wanted to do that, but it has caught up. It's caught on, and whatever. So I'm going to go instead, and I'm going to go over to Geyser Point. And sticking with my theme of places that you can go and have drinks, I wanted to go either Territory Lounge or Geyser Point, right? They're too close to each other for me to go with both. So I'm going to stick with the one that's outside, right? Again, on the water, chill spot, away from the action, but still feel like you're within the area that you want to be. Small menu, easy food that's good, and there's a bunch of beers on tap. So for a beer drinker, which I normally am when I'm at Disney, that's a good spot to just go and sit and have a drink if you don't want to be in the mix of the craziness. And to me, those are the spots that I want to be, that I think are underrated at Disney, because there's no value that you can put on just getting away from it all for a little bit to have a drink without just feeling like people are on top of you, So for me, Geyser Point is one of those places to just enjoy and sit back and relax. And they do have some good cocktails on that menu as well. Don't get me wrong, but I'm all about the taps at that restaurant.
It's interesting. So, there's an example of a restaurant I would have never considered for this podcast, because no one's, I think people are out there professing how great it is for all the reasons you said. I don't think they exaggerated. I think you nailed the reason it is good. But I don't think, I think enough people know about it and go to it. But one, it's so large, and two, it's so remote. I mean, if you do a traditional, like a monorail crawl or the old resorts crawl, that's on the list to start there, right? And so it's physically like a hidden gem, but I think enough people gravitate to it. Plus, the bison burgers have got so much popularity that people go check them out. So I find it, I know what you're saying, and I don't disagree with it, but I don't think I would put the term underrated in that category of Geyser Point.
Here's the question, though. Here's the question that I have for you, because I've struggled with this one when putting this list together, right? Is it not underrated to you because we are in the Disney community and constantly talking with people that are constantly there? Because do you think the average Disney goer would have any clue that place exists? That's kind of where I'm coming from when I look at this as underrated, right? Is that like everybody's going to go to Hollywood Studios and know Baseline Tap House, right? If you're a beer drinker, you're going to know, but some people might call that underrated. No way, no chance, right?
No.
Like that's right.
No,
Right. But if you go and you stay anywhere other than, the Wilderness Lodge, you have no idea that place exists unless you're a hardcore fan. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with this list, is like,
I get it. Look at it. And for those same reasons, I'm going to pick the one you didn't pick, the Territory Lounge.
Yeah.
Because to me, the theming in there is so off the lobby of that great lobby, which is, you could imagine yourself in that Territory Lounge having a drink with all the woodwork, and that you are in the Pacific Northwest, and there's no window looking out the outside, but you can imagine that if you stepped out of that bar and there was a window, you could imagine it would be full of snow. I mean, it's like you really think you're somewhere else on the planet with that. And I have used that bar when my family stayed there for an oasis. Kids are small, taking a nap, and today's my turn to go solo, tomorrow's your turn. That's fine with me right there. Lots of great choices, good snacks. You still can't, to your point, get like the full menu, that's over at used to be at Artist Point at the time. Now you couldn't even dream of it, but you can get some great the charcuterie board is a hanging board with charcuterie on it, clothesline, but it's not bacon this time. It's all kinds of Northwest, type salamis and aged and cured meats. Absolutely phenomenal. A good mix of, and it's the food again is very well themed. You do have the bacon and on the wire, but you have bone marrow, salmon flatbread pizza. You have a lot of stuff that it feels right there, and you have the same Northwest beers that you're talking about out at the territory at the outside at Geyser Point, right? You have the same kind of selection, as well as all the traditional Disney bar selection. So there's one small TV in there, whereas if you sit near it and it feels like you're in somebody's, den or room. It doesn't feel like you're in a bar, right? So you can cozy up to that TV and watch a game or whatever. And again, I never, every time I walk in there, it's never full. And I'm thinking, why? It's a great place to have a drink before you go to, one of the two major restaurants there. But yeah, that's my pick.
I think it's a good pick. I mean, like I said, I was debating between the two, and I just went with the other because it's outside, right?
Yeah.
I would just prefer to be outside. So I can't sit here and say that you're wrong. I think you nailed the pick there. I think it's the same kind of thing, right? It's a lot of people stumble into that place because they're waiting for Artist Point, right? They're waiting for that, and that's when they realize that place exists, and it's a pleasant surprise. Yeah, no disagreement coming from me on that one.
Yeah, same here. I mean, it's definitely underknown, and I mean it's so worth it. If once you get in there and you realize everything that's there, you're like, okay, why didn't I know about this before? So,
all right. So I've picked 4, and I also had John's Enzo. I picked, 3, and I also have John's Enzo. So I only have 1 left. How many do you have left, Ryan?
I only have 1 left as well. John, I think you might have 2, yeah?
Yes, I have 2. And I've got one here that may kind of surprised me a little bit last time. And that being the Enchanted Rose. This one surprised me. I figured this one was going to be kind of a little more okay, it's very flashy, it's very whatever. But even when we pulled up there, it was not super crazy busy, and the drinks were phenomenal. And the service was spot on. The seasonal old fashioned I had was phenomenal to the point where I actually got a second. And that's usually not the case for me to get a second, something like that. So that tells you something right there. But unfortunately, I didn't get to experience any of the food or any of that fun stuff there. But they've got a lot.
I got to stop you right there. I just feel like this is a draft moment where John screwed up the pick in the draft.
Thank you. I think you're right.
Thanks, guys.
Because come on, John. This is a very highly popular, highly talked about bar. It's probably one of the top 5 bars, most popular bars. Some people would put it overrated. I don't think. I agree with you, the quality and everything.
Yeah.
But it's not underrated. It's not underrated.
Everything I've said, I've been for the classic Disney drinkers. I mean, a lot of them, they like it, but it's not really there. To be honest with you, there's other options they prefer to go.
It's there. It's right up there with Trader Sam's, I think.
I mean, that's fair to say. I mean, I'll defend it. I mean, I didn't expect to honestly like it just based on what it is, with the Enchanted Rose, the theme and everything. To be honest, I mean, it impressed me a little bit, to be 100% honest with you. I thought it was going to be all gimmick and kind of walk away like, okay,
No,
I've
it's
done it.
classy. That's why I had you dress up nice that day. It's a classy place.
Classy place. Okay, just like you. Yeah, I wouldn't call that classy, but okay.
So you know, John, I hate when you make me agree with Carl, but the fact of the matter is like, I do agree with you. I'm more of a dive bar kind of guy, right? Like, so the Enchanted Rose is not one that I look at and go, ooh, I want to go there. But on the same hand, like, ever since that place has opened, it's been highly touted. It's definitely not off the beaten path. It's on the monorail. It's easy to get to.
I will agree with you. It's not off the beaten path, and I'm never going to disagree with that because it's not. But it's not something that you're hearing about as much anymore because it's kind of been there and people are kind of getting used to it, and it's not just super popular anymore.
John, it's okay to be wrong.
Yeah, it's okay to be wrong. I think if we were doing a list of bars we didn't expect to enjoy, this would fit right into that list, right? For us, for you and me. Carl, I actually, the minute I saw the place, I was like, oh, this is Carl's kind of place. So I don't think it would fit onto his list, right? But yeah, I have to agree that let's all agree we've all got some choices here. This one probably is not making our combined top 5.
No, I would agree to that. I didn't expect this one to be honest.
Oh, John, give us another one. We'll give you another crack because you swung and a miss on that. So we'll give you another one since you were behind. Go ahead.
All right, let me figure out one because some of the other ones have been taken that I've had on my list here.
Well, then if they've already been taken, then you've got yours in. You know, that's kind of,
yeah.
Which one did we took that was on your list?
Let's see. I deleted my list here. One moment. So unfortunately, Jock was on there a while back.
Yeah,
that was a must. So that one's.
So we got John with Jock. We have Carl and I both with Jock as well.
So I guess Jock is going to make the overall 5 list. We agree.
I think we need to put Jock Lindsay's as number 1, considering it's the only one all 3 of us has.
Excellent. Okay. I'm so happy.
Carl, you and I both still have one left on our list. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go?
I'm going to go because you guys might disagree with this. So we like controversy. Hard to get to. It was really a crappy bar at one time, but they've just improved it. And it's a good steady flow of people, but not enough people, I think, for what it is. I think it might be the best pool bar at Walt Disney World Resort. And I'm going with the Banana Cabana.
Shocker. I kind of forgot about that one to make the list here.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what's funny is I looked at it, but the only reason I didn't call it is because we don't shut up about that bar on this show. It's something that we talk about from time to time, but that one's like, I mean, it's a mainstay for us.
Right, it is, right? But it's underrated to the rest of the world because it's hard to get to unless you're staying there. You would think with this, inventing the Skyliner crawl, more people would be exposed to it. But if you remember what was there versus what it is now, it's a delightful place to be. It's still, a family place, but if you sit up at the bar and you order some wings or you order one of the other apps and you have one of the original Banana Cabana, for me, that's pretty damn good. The drinks are nothing special. It's a standard, Disney bar, but it's just the atmosphere fits right in with the Caribbean theme. And you just feel it's one of those bars where you feel you're on vacation, and it's worthwhile, I think, going there on a circle tour if you're doing a bar hop including that in your list. And if you're staying at the Caribbean Beach Resort and you don't go to the Banana Cabana, shame. So that leaves Ryan.
Yeah. So like I said, I had Banana Cabana. It was probably number 6 on my list. So, I was right there. I do enjoy it. I've come to like it more. We've stayed at Caribbean Beach recently. We met a couple of MVPs actually there recently. The wings are pretty good in there on top of the drinks being pretty good. We actually ordered a bunch of small snacks in there. For the most part, they were all pretty good. My kids were happy in there. It's right off the pool, so really easy to get to. But one that I think might surprise you guys on my list is Abracadabra out at the boardwalk. So, it's a place that you can generally walk into and it's close to empty, but the drinks in there are really good. The Black Manhattan's got a really good, it's a really good Manhattan, but it's also got a really good, decent popularity to it to people who know the bar is there, right? It's one of those drinks that is kind of a staple in that bar, but the bar is also super fun. It's kind of got that Disney theming that you're looking for. You walk in, it's kind of a magic themed bar. It's just off of Trattoria al Forno, shares a bathroom with Trattoria al Forno. So you walk through there anytime you have to go while you're having a good Italian meal. But again, chill vibe, kind of a dive bar, which is right up my alley. It's definitely not the Enchanted Rose by any stretch. You can walk in there in a t-shirt. You can walk in there right after you get out of Epcot. You can stumble in there after you've been drinking around the world and nobody cares. Bartenders are fun. It's a nice halfway point between drinking around the world and jelly rolls, so yep. It's kind of got that vibe to it. So to me, that's one of those bars that, prior to me going to Disney more often for Magic Vacations and with Dudes Dish Disney and really stepping up how often I go there, I didn't know the place existed. I didn't even know it was a thing. So I think it's a place I would send people that if they're on the boardwalk looking for a place to grab a good drink, a good cocktail especially, and again, like some of the other bars that we've talked about, it's not a restaurant. It's just got small plates, pub food, and drinks. That's it. So that's gonna be number 5 on my list.
So like I would agree with that. The Abracadabra is underrated, and like the Gurgling Suitcase is a little overrated, right? But they're all just bars, and that's all they are. The reason I had it written down here, but the reason I didn't mention it is the first time I went there was like it had only been open for a couple of months, and I had a bad experience in there. So I like the vibe too. To me, it reminds me of the old Main Street House of Magic. It's that era and everything. Fits in with the boardwalk, and I love that whole thing. And I wanted, let's face it, I wanted to go in there and love it. I really did, and I was expecting to. It was advertised as much as like when they mix the drinks in front of you, like stuff happens to the drink, like they change color, or they smoke, or they do this and that. And so I tried one drink, and the effect did not work. And it just didn't hit my taste palate right. So I was disappointed. So I said, I'm giving it a second shot, and I ordered a second drink, a different drink. This one did not have any presentation qualities to it, and it was even worse tasting than the first drink. So, and I don't remember what they were and what they were. All I remember is I don't like them, and I got to tell you.
You could have had a bad bartender, and the thing that that'll happen. And first impressions are everything, right? Yeah. Like you go in there and you get a bad first impression, it's hard. But I've been in there and I've had a couple of drinks, and they were all really good. But kind of the key to me to saying that about you is you had a drink that was supposed to have an effect and it didn't work, and then the drink tasted bad. Sounds to me like something was missing. Like it's not like effects are, it's chemical reactions, right? So usually you need everything in there in order for that to work.
And because I wanted to love it, and it didn't do it for me. It's kind of, and I gave it a second chance, and it still didn't work.
Yep.
And some people have said about me, Ryan, John, that I had never met a drink I didn't like. And I got to tell you, I met 2 I didn't like that night. So,
jeez, that's saying something right there.
I could see you not liking some drinks, right? You actually had a surprisingly not great experience at Trader Sam's the last time we went too. So,
yes.
Every once in a while, even the best places can have a bad day, right?
Right.
But I suppose what that means, Carl, is that you and I need to go back there together and try it again.
I think that's the best idea I've heard this show.
All right.
Okay.
I'm in.
All right. So we're all in
that's
agreement.
fair.
You can join us as long as you don't mind leaving the enchanted rooms.
I'm perfectly fine. I've never been to that bar, so I mean, I need to get over there. There's no doubt about
And
that.
I need to give the restaurants over there another try. You guys both like them, and I've kind of put them on the back burner, so I might need to give them another try. So here we are. So I think we all agree Jock Lindsay's is on our top 5
Yep.
of the most underrated bars. I think we have, at least John and I agree on Enzo's Hideaway.
I have no problem with Enzo's being on the final top 5.
Okay, so that makes the cut. The Edison bar was Ryan and John's favorite, right? You guys both talked about the Edison, and I can agree with you. That can make the top 5. But it's interesting. We got 3 of the top 5 that are all at Disney Springs, right?
I mean, it's interesting, but it's not, right?
It's really not surprising. I mean, there's
Yeah.
everything that they offer over there. I mean, there's really, honestly, there's nothing that signifies.
So
five.
we've got 2 left and 5 choices. We've got the Dahlia, we've got Abracadabra, we got Victoria Falls, the Territory Lounge, Banana Cabana, and Geyser Point. So we have 6 left for the remaining 2 spots. I'm feeling like Territory Lounge is going to make it because you almost went there.
Yep.
And-
I'm fine with that. I think Territory Lounge belongs on the list. I have no
I'm
problem
perfectly fine with that
Put
too.
that down. Okay, so now we have 4. Now we're down to the tough one. What is the final?
I think I know what it is. I want to hear what John's opinion is, but I think I know what it is.
What's remind me what's left here?
Banana
So
Cabana.
right now, what's remaining is
Banana Cabana.
yep,
Victoria Falls Lounge.
yep,
The Dahlia Lounge.
yep,
The Abracadabra.
yep.
And
There's a couple more. Geyser Point,
Geyser Point,
Three Bridges,
and Three Bridges. Yep.
and John said Shula's as well.
Well, part of
To me,
me is,
To me, it's down to 2, and I'm glad this isn't a draft because then I would have to lie about this. But to me, it's down to 2, and those are Carl's 2 other picks: Victoria Falls Lounge and Banana Cabana, because those are both ones that I eyed, even though they didn't make my top 5. I would put those above Shula's, Dahlia Lounge, and Geyser Point for sure. Three Bridges. I'm still high on, but I don't know how you guys feel.
I that's the one that's catching my eye now.
yeah, I like that one. That one has popularity, even though I've yet to actually drink there. The other 2 mentioned, I have not been there personally, so I'm not really opinionated with them, to be honest with you. So
now we're down to Three Bridges, Victoria Falls, and Banana Cabana.
Yeah, I can't put Dahlia or Shula's on there. Not that they're terrible choices. I just can't put those on our 5. To me,
I mean,
I
that's fair. That's fair about those 2, to be honest with you. I mean, I can see the points compared to the others, so there's no shame in that.
so Three Bridges, Victoria Falls, and Banana Cabana. If I'm really stuck between 2, I'm stuck between Three Bridges and Victoria Falls. Banana Cabana, I love. Don't get me wrong, but it's outdoor pool bar.
And I would agree. I'll take Banana Cabana off the list and get us down to 2, Victoria Falls and Three Bridges. So I think it's your call, buddy.
Yeah, John, we need you to be the final vote here, I think, because one's mine and one's Carl's. So
I'm leaning towards Three Bridges, to be honest with you.
And there you have it, folks. Walt Disney World Resort's 5 most underrated bars. Make sure you put them on your list of top 5 if you haven't attended to them. Go to them and get the ratings up. and have a wonderful time drinking around the world, the Walt Disney World Resort. And until next time, later, dudes.
Later, dudes.
Later, dudes.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Dudes Dish Disney. Please check us out on social media. On Facebook at Dudes Dish Disney. On Instagram at Dudes Dish Disney. On X at Disney_Dish. Please check us out on YouTube. Like and subscribe at Dudes Dish Disney. Please visit our sponsor, Magic Vacations, at magicvacations.net. More than just a travel agency, Magic Vacations has over 60 Magic Vacation planners committed to bringing you white glove concierge service. Using a Magic Vacation planner allows you to spend more time making memories and less time worrying about the details. For all of your Disney, Universal, cruise, and global travel, go to magicvacations.net. Magic Vacations. Discover the magic of travel.